There is single-handedly no hobby or side thing you can do that will probably be more damaging to you being successful than playing video games. I'm going to tell you why in this video, so just listen up, because it really messed me up for years. And while I'm not the most successful man ever, I've built multiple businesses that have done tens of millions of dollars worth of sales. Here's just one of them on one payment processor. And no, I don't have a course or anything to sell you. I generally just want you to stop this because it's really bad. And I would straight up and look you in the face and tell you that binge drinking probably has less of an impact than playing video games. So look, the reason why video games are going to stop you from being successful is not the games itself. Because for the longest time, I've thought to myself, hey, I can just play video games on the weekend, or I can play it 1 to 2 hours when I get done with work. No, that's not how it works. You can't play them at all. And by this, I mean playing video games at all. You can't even dabble because of how it affects your brain. I know it sounds excessive, but you're probably thinking, how could playing video games 30 minutes to an hour a week negatively affect my brain? It's very simple. The way your brain is set up to work is based off dopamine. Now, I can explain all the science behind it, but I will sound like an idiot. And I want to keep up the veil of professionalism and smartness that is on this channel, so I won't speak science in front of you. So you just continue to thinking I'm a smart guy. But look, here's how it works. Here's the gist of it. Dopamine is a 1, pain is a 0. The way your brain works is it operates in 1s and 0s, and it doesn't have context. And when your brain gets a 1, it's going to look at how hard it was to get that 1, primarily based around how much pain it took to get there. And your brain desperately wants to avoid pain, and it wants to get 1s as easily as possible. When you're playing a video game, you are able to get 1s in an insane amount. You're able to get so many dopamine hits, pow, 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 pow. What happens when your brain gets tons of dopamine hits very easily, it says, hey, everything else you're doing, that's not important. We need to sit down and figure out how to optimize the dopamine hits coming from here, because this is the number one line. This is the number one rail that we're getting all of our dopamine hits from. This is where we're getting our fix from. Now, I think if you're watching this video, you know that, okay, cool. I know that games are significantly more fun and addictive than doing anything that relates to success. I'm sure you've seen a person play World of Warcraft for 12, 14 hours straight, but then they can't sit down and learn something new that will improve their lives immensely, and they'll keep playing World of Warcraft even when they know it's hurting their lives and actually making their lives worse. That's because, again, your brain doesn't have context. Your brain doesn't go, hey, you know what? You played World of Warcraft for 82 hours last week. You can't pay your rent, and you look like the dad from Harry Potter. It's not going to do that. It's going to say, hey, keep doing this thing because it's giving you those 1s. But here's where it really starts to mess you up besides just messing up other parts of your life. How your brain works is it's always going to be trying to figure out problems that it believes are going to give it dopamine releases. And it's going to sit there and work on those problems when you're in the shower. It's going to sit there and work on those problems when you're going to bed. It's going to work on those problems when you're not even thinking about your problems in your subconscious. Have you ever done something for a hard time, worked really, really hard on it, then you stopped for 2 days, and then you had a brilliant, more creative strategy just come to you naturally? Your brain is always working and gnawing on the problems you present to it. So if you're playing video games, your brain doesn't have context, so it doesn't realize you're sitting in front of a computer screen playing World of Warcraft. It says, the thing you're doing right here, this is the most satisfying thing you could ever do in your life. This is the best place we can get 1s, so we're going to optimize for this. How can we optimize to be better at this and maximize 1s? And so what it's going to do, if you've ever played World of Warcraft, if you've ever played any video game you're addicted to, you know that when you put the controller down, you're still thinking about it for about 2 to 3 hours. And then throughout the week, if you're at work, it's still thinking about it in the back of your head. When you're in the shower, you're thinking about, how can I get that next epic item in Molten Core? I can tell you this. I tried to play WoW Classic. I'm sitting around constantly in the shower thinking about how to get my Warlock shoulders for Molten Core to increase my base stats by like 24 points. It doesn't even make my points go up and down, but the dopamine release is huge. You see how disturbing that is? Because first off, my brain is completely focused on problem solving around a problem that will bring nothing to my life. Again, your brain does not have context. And if all I'm doing is playing video games, obviously it's pretty clear why this is bad, because video games don't pay the bills. I mean to say I'm not. And they make you a socially awkward little weirdo, okay? I'm sure you guys can all relate. I've talked to a girl before too. It's freaking terrifying. It's because of the games. Maybe not because of the games. But look, here's the thing. The reason why this doesn't work if you want to be successful is because in order to be successful, you need to be thinking on all cylinders. For example, if Kobe Bryant was trying to be the world's best basketball player and he's trying to go in the NBA, and he's going against competitors that are thinking 100% of the time how to be better at basketball, 100% of the time, and he's thinking, let's say, 70% of the time. Other 30% of the time, he's thinking about how to seduce Garrus in Mass Effect. Okay, that's something a lot of NBA players try to do. But say Kobe's thinking about it. He's not going to be the best because default, he's not going to be thinking about the game as much. He's not going to be as good as the game. because he's finding creative ways to move forward. See, the way you really have success at something is you're going to hit these breaking points. You're going to hit these hard points that take a lot of creative thought, and the solutions don't come to you unless you're obsessive about it. And if you're obsessing with something else, which is a video game, which your brain will obsess over because it's a much better source of funds. It's way more exciting than coming to work and working on your business. Dopamine-wise, life fulfillment-wise, life satisfaction-wise, it's not. And you can get the same amount of high from working on your business, but you can't when there is a thing you can do in your life that gives you way more ones way more easily. See, dopamine doesn't have context. Just because it feels good and gives you a lot of dopamine doesn't mean it's something that you actually will enjoy and will make your life happier. It's not. It's a very poor indicator of what's going to make you happy. But when you're getting ones from something, you're going to focus on it. You're going to think about it. Thus, you're not thinking about something else. Thus, you're not hitting that level of creativity you need to get to that top level. See, how success works is it comes at an exponential return. How it works is at 10% effort, you don't really get results. 50% effort, you don't really get results. 70% effort, you sort of get kind of okay results like everybody else in their life. At 85%, you still don't really get that great of results. At about 98% of effort, that's when you start seeing the huge breakthroughs and you start hitting that level because that's where very few people operate at. If you've ever succeeded in anything in your life, you probably know it's because you sat around thinking about it non-stop. Whenever I was actually learning how to code and alter video games when I was younger, I would sit around and obsess over that constantly. And I would just think about it. And because I was able to do all sorts of crazy things in the games. Whenever I was first thinking about and building my first business, it was all I thought about all day long. So I found all these creative ways that break through these things in my business that really no one had talked about. No one taught me how to do it, and no one had helped me discover it. I just sat there and obsessed over it. Just like when you've probably played a video game in the past and you've ran into a problem and you just poked around even until you found a glitch in the game to get around it. That's what you have to do in real life. And so when you're playing video games, even part-time, it hijacks that part of your brain that allows you to get to that point where you're going to get those maximum returns. You're going to be instead sitting around thinking about how to win at Super Smash Bros. You're going to be sitting around thinking about how to train your Pokemon to the highest level. And the problems in games are often very complex. Have you seen the complexity of competitive Pokemon? It's mind-blowing. It's insane. And so your brain is going to gnaw on these problems. It's going to be like a bone it can't stop chewing on. And that bone is so thick, you're going to be chewing on it for months and months and months. And then when you chew through that bone, you have nothing. I'm sure you've probably beaten a video game that you invested months into, and then it gives you nothing. I remember when I beat Breath of the Wild, I was riding around in the motorcycle at the end after, I don't know, like 150 hours, 200 hours invested. And I'm like, this is it. And I turned off my Switch and had nothing to show for it. And so that's why you can't play video games. It hijacks your subconscious. It hijacks your thinking. If you're going out and partying all the time, at least during the week, you're only thinking about business. You're not going to be thinking about partying 24/7. If you like to eat cake all the time, you'll eat cake and then you're done with it. If you like watching tons of TV, at least when you turn the TV off, you're probably not sitting around thinking about Family Guy 24/7. Video games is one of the few things you can ever do that will be more engaging than anything you can do in life and simulates accomplishment, simulates growth in a way that gives your brain massive ones and your brain can't see the context and it makes you think about it all the time. Because you think about it all the time, you can't think about and do and operate the level you need to be successful all the time.